Ever get that little nudge, that what if about stepping onto a stage? Even if it's just, for fun. A way to explore a different side of yourself.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you've even been collecting ideas about it, trying to figure out if acting could fit into your life alongside, well, everything else you're doing.
Right.
Well, you sent us a fantastic array of material, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah, and our mission really is to get under the skin of these sources.
Yeah.
We want to pull out the most insightful and practical information for you.
Especially if you're maybe just starting out, right?
Exactly. Someone who's considering acting, maybe as a brand new hobby, or perhaps something a bit more serious alongside other commitments.
Or even, I saw in there a bit of curiosity about voice acting.
Yes, that too. We've got a really rich mix of resources here, so we'll be exploring the real benefits of acting beyond the stage, some actionable solo exercises you can try like right now,
Okay.
a look at the core philosophies behind different acting techniques, why vocal warm-ups are just, well, non-negotiable.
Always important.
Definitely. And even how others manage to weave acting into their already full lives.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Why would someone even, consider taking up acting just as a hobby? We've got an article on that, acting as a hobby, and a really interesting Reddit thread, too. What struck you as most compelling?
Well, what's fascinating is how consistently the sources point to acting as this really powerful tool for unlocking self-expression. It gives you this safe container, sort of, to explore emotions, different aspects of yourself without the pressures of, everyday life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not just about letting loose. It's repeatedly mentioned as a fantastic confidence builder, especially for things like public speaking or social interactions.
Oh, absolutely. I can see that.
Think about it. You're memorizing lines, presenting as a character. You're regularly stepping outside your comfort zone, but hopefully in a supportive environment.
It's like flexing those bravery muscles, but in a low-stakes way. And it's not just about being on stage, is it? The sources seem to highlight how acting can really sharpen your communication skills across the board.
Yeah, verbal, nonverbal, even your emotional intelligence. By practicing how to convey a character's inner world, you naturally become maybe a more empathetic listener.
And more articulate yourself.
Right, and a more articulate communicator in your own life.
And if we zoom out a bit, these aren't just performance skills. They sound like really valuable life skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The article mentions how this can translate to presenting ideas at work with more poise or navigating personal relationships with greater understanding.
I even saw in the Reddit thread someone mentioned that engaging with new learning styles in acting actually boosted their ability to grasp concepts in their science studies.
Yeah, a really unexpected crossover benefit, wasn't it?
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. It's not all just about self-improvement, is it?
No, not at all.
The sources also emphasize the sheer fun of it, igniting your imagination by inhabiting different roles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Imagine the mental leap from playing, like, a sharp-witted detective to a completely bewildered explorer.
Right. And I loved a comment in that Reddit thread. Someone said, anything worth doing is worth half-assing.
Yeah.
It just takes away that pressure to be perfect right away and encourages you to just, play.
And that element of stress relief is so important, too. When your focus is completely on embodying a character, it provides a fantastic mental break from the usual demands and worries.
A different kind of focus.
Exactly. And let's not overlook the social side. Both the article and the Reddit thread mention the sense of community you can find in acting classes or local theater groups.
A chance to connect with others who share that creative spark.
Precisely.
So for someone whose interest has been piqued, maybe listening right now, what are some of the really accessible first steps the sources suggest?
Well, the acting as a hobby article points to starting with classes as a great entry point. Could be in person, could be online.
Yeah.
Joining local theater groups offers, invaluable practical experience too. And it's encouraging, looking at the Reddit thread, that our listener is considering adult classes in their area. That sounds like a perfect example of taking that initial plunge.
It really is. And what's also reassuring for that Reddit discussion is the point that having a separate income, like the user's chemistry degree, can actually provide financial stability.
Right, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, it allows for a more relaxed approach to pursuing acting without that immediate pressure of making it a full-time career. Someone in the thread even said having a day job made them feel freer to choose acting projects they were really passionate about.
Okay, so you're feeling that pull, maybe even looking at classes, but what can you start doing, like, right now on your own to begin developing those acting muscles?
Good question.
We've got some excellent resources here. acting exercises you can do alone, and 6 acting exercises to practice at home. Let's dive into these solo activities. Where's a good place to begin?
A fantastic starting point, maybe the most fundamental, is with vocal exercises. As both acting exercises you can do alone and warm-ups and tongue twisters really underscore, an actor's voice is their primary instrument.
Like an athlete warming up.
Exactly like that analogy. An actor needs to warm up their voice. And this is where tongue twisters come in, specifically highlighted for improving diction.
Ah, the classics.
Sick. We're talking 6 sticky skeletons, red Lorry, yellow Lorry, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
You're saying that fast.
Right. And the key here, as warm-ups and tongue twisters suggests, is to begin slowly, then gradually build up speed, but always really concentrating on clear pronunciation, enunciation.
Right, get those mouth muscles working. Okay, what about getting more comfortable with actual scripts?
Absolutely essential. Acting exercises you can do alone emphasizes the value of just reading scripts, exposing yourself to different writing styles. This helps strengthen your analytical skills, your understanding of dramatic structure, and a really useful solo exercise is to choose a script and try reading different roles aloud.
Even ones that feel totally wrong for you.
Especially those. Characters that seem very different from you. And reading aloud is crucial. It helps develop your cold reading abilities and forces you to think about how body language and vocal delivery add to the character.
That's a great idea, trying on different roles through the words. Now, when you're working alone, it can be hard to judge.
Yeah.
How do you get a sense of how you're doing?
That's where the power of recording yourself comes in.
Yeah.
Both our sources highly recommend this.
Okay.
It's an invaluable way to objectively assess your technique. You watch it back and really analyze your tone, your diction, where your eyes are going, facial expressions, your overall body language.
Seeing what the audience would see.
Exactly. And the acting exercises you can do alone article suggests a really practical approach. Record the same scene multiple times, but each time, just focus on changing one element.
Like what?
Maybe your emotional intensity or your pace. Just one thing. And see how that single adjustment impacts the whole performance.
That's smart. Like having your own personal director giving you feedback, almost.
Sort of, yeah.
What other kinds of solo exploration can someone delve into?
Well, we have some really insightful physical exercises, too. Experimenting with body language is huge for character development.
How so?
Try creating distinct characters simply through how they move. You know, the difference between a slouch and an upright posture, or a bouncy walk versus a smooth, gliding one. Acting exercises you can do alone suggest focusing on leading with different parts of your body, like your head first or maybe your hips, and noticing how that subtly shifts your entire physicality, even how you feel inside.
Interesting.
And 6 acting exercises to practice at home adds a great exercise of simply sitting as different characters and observing how your body naturally settles into those different personas.
I love that idea. It's about embodying the character not just with words, but like with your whole being.
Precisely.
What about tapping into creativity in a different way?
Acting exercises you can do alone proposes writing your own material.
Oh, interesting. Like becoming a playwright.
Not necessarily the end goal, no, but the process itself helps you understand the building blocks of storytelling and character creation from the ground up. And then, actually performing something you've written can give you a really unique perspective on the material.
That's a really interesting full circle approach, being both the architect and the performer.
Yep.
Our sources also mention using props and even simple costume elements in solo practice. How does that help?
Oh, 6 acting exercises to practice at home has a great example for this. Take a simple object, say a worn-out hat or a colorful scarf.
Okay.
Let go of any ideas you have about it.
Yeah.
Imagine a character who might own or use this item. Then, as that character, start to move and interact with the prop or wear the costume piece. The examples they give are fantastic. Imagining a confident hockey player swaggering with their stick or someone feeling vulnerable and sort of hiding behind a large scarf. It really shows how objects can instantly inform a character's physicality and even their inner state.
Those are such vivid images. It really sparks the imagination. What are some other, maybe more structured exercises we can take away?
Yeah. 6 acting exercises to practice at home provide several more excellent options. There's one called packing a bag with given circumstances.
Okay. What's that?
You create a character, give them a specific backstory, and then you pack a suitcase, either in mime or with actual objects, based on their situation, their motivations, what they want to achieve.
Ah, so it makes you think about their history and goals.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is favorite feature. You spend time moving and observing yourself in a mirror while focusing on a body part you consider your favorite.
Okay.
And then explore variations by focusing on least favorite part or a combination. This exercise is all about cultivating body awareness and understanding how our self-perception influences movement.
These are all such tangible things someone can try right away in their own space. That's great. Now, let's shift focus a bit and delve into the broader world of acting techniques and philosophies. Our resource Acting Techniques, Dreambox Casting, gives us a really helpful overview. What's the fundamental idea behind having all these different approaches?
Well, the core idea is that there isn't one single universally correct way to act.
Yeah.
Different techniques offer a variety of tools and frameworks that actors can use to connect with the role and deliver a believable, compelling performance.
Right.
And as Acting Techniques points out, many of these methodologies, while distinct, actually have their roots in the groundbreaking work of Konstantin Stanislavski.
Okay, let's start there then. The
Yeah.
cornerstone, the Stanislavski system. What are the central principles of this approach?
So the Stanislavski system, as our source outlines, its primary goal is helping actors achieve believable emotions on stage. But it wasn't static, it was an evolving process.
It changed over time.
Yeah. It started with a focus on emotional memory, drawing on your own past experiences to fuel emotions, but later shifted towards emphasizing physical actions to trigger emotional responses.
Okay.
Key elements include defining the play's super objective. That's the character's big overarching desire, then breaking down scenes into smaller, actionable objectives.
Using active verbs, right? Like to defend or to discover.
Exactly, active verbs. Identifying the obstacles in their way, understanding the specific actions the character takes, and grasping the through line that connects all of these. Stanislavski also stressed releasing physical and mental tension, developing concentration, often using sensory exercises, like vividly recreating the feel of snow, for example.
Wow.
The revolutionary part was really focusing on the internal motivations driving the external behavior, a big shift from older, more presentational styles.
It sounds incredibly thorough, almost like dissecting the human experience.
Right.
What kind of commitment does truly studying Stanislavski require?
Well, the source emphasizes it involves significant homework, creating detailed character biographies, even inventing scenes that happen off stage to build a fuller understanding.
Really filling in the gaps.
Right. And meticulously analyzing the subtext, breaking scenes down into those smaller units with active verbs.
Wow, that's a real deep dive into character. What are some of the immediate benefits for someone who's maybe just beginning their acting journey?
The Dreambox Casting article highlights several key advantages for beginners. It can be a valuable tool for managing stage fright by grounding you in the character's reality.
Yeah, okay.
It helps you learn to be truthful on stage, not just mimicking emotions. It provides a really solid framework for character development.
And it's foundational for other techniques.
Exactly. It gives you a foundational understanding that informs so many other acting techniques used today. The source even mentions iconic actors like Stella Adler, Gregory Peck, Marlon Brando, all significantly influenced by Stanislavski.
And his books are key too.
Yes, it points to an actor prepares, building a character, creating a role as essential reading. And this idea of round-the-table analysis, thoroughly discussing the script, the character's motivations, answering that fundamental question, what do I want? That's a cornerstone.
So Stanislavski really laid the groundwork. Now, our source introduces several other incredibly influential teachers who built upon or maybe reacted to his ideas. Let's talk about Lee Strasberg and method acting. How did his approach relate?
Right. Lee Strasberg, a key figure in the group theater and the legendary actor's studio. His approach, widely known as method acting, built on Stanislavski's early explorations, particularly that emphasis on effective memory.
Using your own past emotions.
Exactly. Using your own past emotional experiences to connect with the character's feelings and also improvisation. But it's important to remember, not everyone agreed with Strasberg's intense focus on sense and emotional recall.
Yet who?
Well, Sanford Meisner, for example, had a very different perspective.
Interesting. So even within Stanislavski's influence, there were diverse interpretations. What about Sanford Meisner? What was the core of his teaching?
Meisner, according to our source, really emphasized being present in the moment, reacting truthfully to your fellow actors on stage.
That famous phrase, living truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
That's the one. He felt Strasberg's heavy reliance on personal memory could sometimes make actors too introspective, too self-focused, rather than truly engaging with the scene partner.
Mm.
Instead, Meisner's technique centered around specific interpersonal exercises, designed to break down intellectualizing and help actors invest emotionally in the immediate reality of the scene, react spontaneously and truthfully.
Getting out of your head.
Pretty much. Getting the actor out of their head and into genuine interaction.
That sounds much more focused on the dynamic between actors. And what about Stella Adler? She's mentioned as a prominent Stanislavski actor, too.
Right. Stella Adler, as the source explains, also diverged from Strasberg's interpretation, especially after she studied directly with Stanislavski later in his life, when his own ideas had evolved.
Oh, okay.
Her technique places strong emphasis on using the given circumstances of the play and the power of your imagination, the as if to generate emotion.
Rather than just personal memories.
Exactly. She believed imagination offered a much wider, more versatile palette of emotional possibilities for the actor.
So it seems like each of these influential teachers took Stanislavski's foundational ideas and then shaped them through their own unique insights. The source also mentions Robert Louis. What was his particular viewpoint?
Robert Louis, according to the article, felt strongly that vocal and emotional training shouldn't be treated as separate things.
Interesting.
He argued for a greater emphasis on formal voice and body work, like learning to speak verse effectively, clear enunciation alongside the emotional exploration Stanislavski championed. He believed a strong technical foundation was essential.
It's fascinating how much debate and different schools of thought emerged. The source lists numerous others influenced by Stanislavski, like Michael Chekhov and Uta Hagen. Can you give us a quick snapshot of their key contributions?
Sure. Our source highlights Michael Chekhov's concept of the psychological gesture. That involves finding a specific physical gesture and maybe a simple accompanying phrase that embodies a key quality or intention of the character.
A physical anchor.
Sort of, yeah. And Uta Hagen, famous for her books Respect for Acting and A Challenge for the Actor, emphasized concepts like identity and substitution, later called transference. And that fundamental principle, acting is doing.
Meaning
Meaning the actor should always be focused on finding active verbs in the script and having a clear, justifiable reason for every action they take on stage. She also stressed developing imagination through keen observation, paraphrasing ideas to internalize them, and finding deep personal justification for every line.
That's a really helpful overview of some major threads. The source also briefly touches on other approaches like improvisation, Suzuki, and viewpoints. What are the essentials there?
Well, improvisation, as the source notes, is absolutely crucial for developing spontaneity, quick thinking, working in the moment.
Like the mirror exercise.
Yeah, the mirror exercise is a great tool for concentration and responsiveness. Improv is often seen as particularly good for kids, for comedy actors, and just generally for overcoming self-consciousness.
Okay. And Suzuki.
Suzuki acting is described as highly disciplined, very physically demanding. It requires significant energy, focused intention, with a strong emphasis on the actor's lower body and breath control as the source of their power.
Sounds intense. And viewpoints.
Viewpoints acting, originally for dancers, explores space and time through 9 distinct viewpoints, things like architecture, tempo, repetition. It emphasizes improv work with movement, music, voice, cultivating stage presence and spatial awareness.
It's incredible the sheer variety of approaches an actor can explore. Now, switching gears slightly, our Reddit user mentioned an interest in voice acting. Our resource Warm-Ups and Tongue Twisters has a lot of practical advice about vocal care. What are the most important things for someone interested in using their voice professionally to keep in mind?
Right. The Warm-Ups and Tongue Twisters source makes it crystal clear. For a voice actor, your voice is your primary tool. It's your instrument.
So you have to protect it.
Absolutely. Taking meticulous care of it is paramount. This is precisely why vocal warm-ups aren't just a suggestion. They're a fundamental necessity.
Why are they so vital, specifically for voice actors?
Well, the source explains that warm-ups serve to wake up the whole intricate system muscles, organs responsible for producing speech. It's directly analogous to stretching before physical exercise.
Makes sense.
These warm-ups stimulate healthy blood flow to the vocal cords, promote flexibility, range of motion, and they play a crucial role in reducing muscle tension, clearing excess mucus, ensuring your voice operates comfortably, reliably, and to its full potential.
And it helps with skills, too.
Yeah, beyond just health, warm-ups are a valuable chance for skill development, practicing cold reading, honing articulation through things like tongue twisters.
So it's both prevention and refinement. What does a good vocal warm-up routine typically involve?
The source breaks it down into 3 essential parts: prepping the body, focusing on breath, and then directly engaging the voice.
Okay.
Body, Gentle stretching neck, shoulders. Jaw releases tension. Breath. Exercises like deep diaphragmatic breathing, lip trills establish controlled breath support. Voice, start gentle, like humming, then move to copy reading, incorporating tongue twisters to activate the chords and improve clarity, resonance, articulation.
And the source has examples of those tongue twisters.
Yeah, it provides a range from short and simple to longer, more challenging ones that you can work into your routine.
Those tongue twisters do sound like a fun way to get things moving. What about after a recording session or performance? Is there anything specific you should do then?
Absolutely. The source emphasizes the significant role of vocal cooldowns. Just like you wouldn't stop dead after intense exercise, you shouldn't stop all vocalization abruptly after a demanding session.
Why not?
Cooldowns help gently bring your voice back to a neutral, relaxed state, crucial for preventing strain, fatigue, potential long-term issues. The source outlines the 3 R's. Relax.
Relax.
Gentle stretches, lip trills, mindful breathing.
Recover.
Prioritize rest. Stay hydrated. Consciously avoid vocal strain or abuse. And
Reflect.
reflect.
Just taking a moment to mentally review the session, how your voice felt.
That's incredibly valuable advice, especially if you're thinking about voice work. And bringing it back to our Reddit users' interest, the thread did have some encouraging points about breaking into voice acting, didn't it?
Yes, it did. The Reddit thread mentioned the appealing flexibility of voice acting auditions often involves self-taping. That can be a big advantage if you're juggling other commitments.
Easier to fit in.
Yeah. And it also noted there are specialized agents who focus specifically on voice actors for various types of work, including commercials. That can be a helpful avenue to explore.
So as we start to wrap up our deep dive today, wow, we've really covered a huge amount of ground exploring the world of acting, haven't we?
We really have.
What are some of the most important key takeaways you'd like to leave our listener with? I think the essential takeaways are, 1, acting as a hobby offers this surprisingly diverse array of personal benefits that go way beyond the stage confidence, communication, creativity. 2, there are a wealth of practical, accessible solo exercises you can start doing right now to develop fundamental skills. 3, understanding the different techniques gives you context and various paths to character work.
And vocal care?
4, vocal care warm-ups, cool-downs is absolutely vital, especially if you're interested in voice acting. And finally, pursuing acting alongside other interests is totally valid, enriching, and sustainable.
This has been such a comprehensive and, I think, inspiring look at acting for beginners or those considering it more seriously. And it all came from the fantastic material you shared with us. We really hope this has given you a ton of valuable info and some really practical starting points.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the final thought for you, our listener, is this. Out of everything we've discussed, all the exercises, the techniques, which one really sparked your curiosity the most? Maybe it's creating a character just through body language. Or perhaps you're intrigued by Stanislavski's circles of attention. Whatever it is, take that initial step.
No matter how small.
Exactly. No matter how small it seems, try one of the solo exercises. Look into a local class. Even just pick up a play and start reading it aloud. The real magic happens in that first step of exploration.